Hello, and welcome back to Factorio. I am Dorthek, and this is the next episode in our Factorio tutorial walkthrough Let's Play series for Factorio 0.17 and 0.18. In the last episode, we built Kovarek's processing of uranium, as well as reprocessing of spent fuel cells. Since the last episode, I've been doing a few housekeeping things around the base that I will talk about in a minute, but that allowed the system to generate enough refined uranium that I was able to manually start up the third reactor, the third reprocessor, and have a chunk towards the next one. Not quite enough yet to get the fourth one up. I did, however, realize that I did not like all of this uranium building up in here. I thought it wouldn't be a big deal, but it is. Earlier, I was careful to put, U-235 on one side of the belt and U-238 on the other, but it really doesn't matter since it's going to get reprocessed here. Therefore, we're going to modify this by taking some more filter inserters, putting them right there, and setting them to only take out U-238. And then we're going to replace these green inserters with white inserters once it's run its cycle. And set these to only take out the U-235. There we go. So now U-238 will go directly in from this belt into the machine and out to that belt, and only U-235 will go through all this. I'm going to take out this extra U-238 and dump it into a box here. There we go. And you can see as the machines process, they will spit out. There goes the U-238 back into the system. Wonderful. I did also want to demonstrate one other very important thing. So I'm going to set up a little bit of an experiment by kind of dumping everything I have into some boxes. You can, by the way, if you control-click in an empty spot, it'll try to move everything. And I'm going to take out just a few things. I'm going to take out one machine. I'm going to place one assembler and put the rest of it back. I'm going to set this assembler to build me a engine unit. And the reason I chose the engine unit is it has this long 10-second craft time. So it needs steel plate, iron gear wheel, and pipe. 1, 1, and 2. I'm going to grab from here 2. Nope, not what I want to do. And 2 pipes, please. Or 4 pipes. Okay, now the reason I did this is I wanted it very clear that all I have in my inventory is just enough materials to build 2 of these engine units. So now I'm going to dump all of that in and let it start, and as it's working, I'm going to pick it up. Look what happens. And this is the inserter. This is the assembler, rather. I got my assembler back, but notice that I only got 2, 1, and 1 of the raw ingredients. What happened? Well, what happened is when this machine is cycling, let's take a couple more. 1, 1. Nope. I'm putting in two cycles worth of materials. One cycle is currently being used, and the other cycle is sitting in these slots here. I can take them back out of that slot, but I cannot take out the in-use one. So if I pick this up before it finishes, the in-use items are gone. They disappear. Factorio has eaten them. Why am I telling you? Well, this is a really long 60-second craft cycle that has inside the cycle 40 of our precious uranium-235. If I were to pick up one of these centrifuges while it was running, I would destroy that U-235. So it is with the cheap ingredients that I was using here, it doesn't matter. But when you have a machine running, making something very expensive to produce, like these, don't pick them up. Or if you need to pick them up, disconnect their feeds first, let whatever's in them process out, spit out the output, and then pick it up. Don't do it mid-cycle. You will waste precious resources. So that's what I wanted to look at here. In between episodes, I did a few things. I put down a radar up here so we can now see this defense system we built. I also went around and found a couple of spots along the western wall that were getting attacked a lot and put down some laser turrets there. However, even since I did that, some of them have already taken damage. So what are we going to do about it? Well, our next big goal is to build that stone mining outpost, but before we do that, we need to see one other thing. So I will meet you out over by the western wall in just a moment. Here we are. So, how do we address the fact that our walls keep getting damaged? Well, it's actually quite easy. If you look at the map with the Roboport networks turned on, you'll see that I dragged a Roboport network out here. Let's extend it. I will run it the rest of the way out later, off camera, but in the meanwhile, as you can see, we now got a big chunk of wall covered by a Roboport network. So our robots can just fix the wall for us. Whatever gets damaged can be fixed by robots. Now, there are a couple of issues here. Number one, the robots need access to repair kits to fix things, and to replacement parts, replacement walls, turrets, etc., if things are completely destroyed. Well, since this network extends all the way to our mall, that is not a problem. In fact, they're probably winging their way over already somewhere. You can try to find them, but there they are. You can see those guys are flying with some repair packs. So the second issue is that they will try to fix things while there's an attack going on, and robots are priority targets for biters, so we will lose some bots in the long run. However, since we are constantly manufacturing and resupplying our robots, we're constantly replenishing the robot supplies it's needed, that's not a big deal either. The third and final one has to do with corners. This is a straight wall, so there's no problem. This wall runs this way and turns that way, so there's no problem. We can line it with roboports. What I want to caution you about, though, is if you ever have a wall like this, where this is the inside of the wall, right? So you have, laser turrets, whatever, and then you have roboports. One over here somewhere, one over here somewhere. because what will happen is the robots will fly across this way. And you know what's out here? Biters. Lots of biters. And if this is a big area, the robots, not even just the robots fixing this wall, just robots trying to get from one place to another, will try to cut this diagonal, and they will get eaten by biters, and you will lose a ton of robots that way. So my suggestion is don't do that. If you have to have this inner kind of corner, either don't use robots near it or avoid the inner corner to begin with. Oh, they're going to steal my stuff. Whereas the base robots are going to try to pick this up. We'll beat them to it. There we go. Right, so you can see that this area has been repaired by the base robots. So why is that important right now? Well, because when we build our outpost, we want to be able to do something quite similar. And we've got another attack incoming here. And of course, this is not an area covered by roboports. Let's drag some down, because that's another heavily hit area. So let's get a few roboports there right now. And we don't have to extend the logistics network zone the entire way, as long as we've extended the construction zone. Is that enough? No, not quite. Let's take it down. Let's do one more. And that's good enough, because the construction zone... No, I'm out of roboports. Well, since this roboport is in the construction area, sooner or later the base robots will replace it. Good enough. One other thing I did in between episodes is I made this here base station bigger, and we will see why in just a minute. I'll meet you out there. I actually took a brief detour from going out to the base because I realized we had not renewed signs, but we had completed several things. We completed Logistics 3 before, and we completed Automation 3, which means we've can unlock some new things in the mall. Let's set our next research, and I think we're going to set braking force. That'll make our trains faster, and we can also get our blueprint. Get it lined up, and click, and we got a couple of new things. First off, we've got blue belts, and second, we've got... Oh, it did not correctly unlock it. This should be right here. Yellow assemblers. Yellow assemblers are even faster than blue ones. So we're going to take this out of circulation and put in a request for yellow assemblers, because we're definitely going to want to use those as soon as we can. But it's going to take a little bit for them to get produced, although doing pretty well. Yeah, we can drop off our blue assemblers. Very nice. They go fast. Now, we will notice that these are not being produced, and that's because one of the ingredients is lubricant. So, we can bring in some lubricant. Oh, that's a problem. Really? Put one here. One here. One there. One there. One there. Nope. Not there. Okay. Let's connect lubricant. And there we go. We've got blue belts being produced. Excellent. Braking force is done. Let's do some inserter capacity. And now that we have done this, let's head back out to our outpost. Alright, now, as we discussed, we're in biter country, and we're going to be doing stuff here. So I definitely don't want us to get killed or our train to get wrecked. Which means the very first thing we're going to do, and this is very temporarily, we're going to put down one of these substations, and we're going to put down some laser turrets. Like that. Wonderful. Now, what we really want to do is build some defenses. Insert capacity done. Let's get to work with cargo robots. Nice, that's nice. So, let's build a wall. Yes, we can insert all the jokes about making the biters pay for it, but a wall nonetheless. We will need gates for the train. And we're going to build this. This is going to be a big wall. I don't know if I brought enough wall material. Because we want to go all the way down here. Let's line it up from this side. Oh, there's a bite. There's some biters. Go away. Don't bother me. What are you doing? I do not want to fight with you right now. Go under somewhere else. Let's say right here. Let's give it a little more space. There we go. And now we want to come around. But we want to defend it as well. So how do we do that? Well, let's come up to this corner and let's decide we want some laser turrets. I'm not going to use bullet firing turrets here because I don't want to have to drag ammunition in here. I will have to drag other things. And we will just build a solid wall of turrets. Alright. And I ran out of turrets. Probably should have brought more, but that's okay. We're just designing things. We can certainly do this. That's pretty good spacing. Alright. What's next? Next, we need to power them. And I want to set these back some. So I'm just going to kind of run them over here so they're just covering our turrets. Okay. Now, we can also put in some dragon's teeth like we did up here. Those are always fun. Let's grab a block of those. I'm going to turn off the robots for a moment because I want to see how they line up. So if we put them like this, can we then get them to evenly line up like that? Yes. Perfect. Robots back on. And like so. And then... Nope. Update it. That'll do. Not quite perfect, but it'll work. And yep, our robots are going to get a little bit of a work. Now, we can add one more... Oh, it's getting blown up. That's over here. No worries. And since we're now within the zone of roboports, we can say, oh, you guys are attacking over here? Great, let's reinforce that part of the wall. And our robots will do that for us. Alright, they can work on that for a little bit. In the meanwhile, I got a new kind of turret for us. A flamethrower turret. Now, flamethrower turrets are a little bit different from other kinds of turrets. You know, most turrets that we've used before, laser and bullet turrets, have a circle. They can shoot in a circle. Flamethrower turrets, however, if you look, have an arc. They can only shoot out in front of them, but it's a wide arc, and it's a really long range, even longer than laser turrets. So we're going to put a couple of those out here. Now, they do need fuel. The fuel they need is either crude oil, or heavy oil, or light oil. Well, we've got crude oil that we can ship into them. That's not a problem. And we will do that in a minute. Now, we do need to connect them with piping. So I think that's a good spacing. We don't want to build a huge amount of them because they are expensive and they do have really good coverage. So I think one pipe apart is pretty good. So let's do this. I probably don't even have anywhere close to enough turrets on me to do the job, but that's okay. And I would like the last one to be out here. Now, since we've got to feed them, obviously, we're going to need to set up a fluid unloading station. So we can grab one of our standard fluid stations. We have them right here. Fluid unloading. Oh. Yep, right there. Will that fit? It's gonna get in the way of this. Let's put it on the second one. Sure, yeah, let's put it right here. Obviously, we don't need this piece of... I don't know if I have all the necessary ingredients on me. I may not have train stations, actually. Maybe I have it. We need power. Is that everything? Look at that. It's everything. So we can name this station. This can be Stone Outpost Oil In. And it'll output to here. And what we will do is bring it out this way. Bring it out this way. And bring it out here, and actually we'll get back to that in a second. The last thing we want to build in here is Roboport coverage. So we want the Roboport located so that it covers the entire area with its construction zone, and as much of it as possible with the logistics. So I think we will put it right here. And then the next one will be right here. And then the last one can be right there. Now, the reason I did this in quite this fashion is that I want to make a copy of this whole contraption and then rotate it. Down here. Let's erase these dragon's teeth. And we will place it like so. And this will require a little bit of tweaking, that's for sure. Get rid of this tree. Connect that. Work. This will be in the way of our mining operations here, so we're just gonna move this one over here. This one over here. And then we can shift this down to here and down here to connect. That's done. Insert capacity. Alright, now we've had to alter it a little bit around it. Now we can do it one more time. Come around here. And there's that side. And finally, there's this side. It will require a little bit of tweaking for sure. Power is non-existent, so the robots have all gone to sleep. It's alright. Now obviously over here we have some disruptions because we have rails in the way, so we just kind of squeeze things in as best as we can. Now, over here, where we will have our oil coming in entirely, we will take this out and we will put in one header tank just to keep things convenient. Not very convenient. So come to this side. You go. I will just use a double tank. That's. Now we do need to get a train into here to fill those, but once we do, it'll go. Now, clearly we need a lot more wall pieces. We need a lot more turrets and all of that good stuff. And I'll work on that in between episodes. But this should give you an idea for how we're going to build this this setup. Let's see. Ah, yes, there's going to be one more important thing we need to do. And that's, for the moment, we're going to do this way. I'm going to place a single provider box here. And we're going to put some raw materials into it. We're going to put in some repair packs, some walls. If we had some turrets, we'd put in some turrets. And anything, all the other stuff that's on the front lines. So some laser turrets, some flame turrets, maybe a little bit of these pipes, maybe a little bit of these pipes, just in case they get damaged. And of course, we need robots. I didn't actually bring any spare robots out here, so let's dump these guys in here. They'll go and construct things, but from what's available, and that's fine. In fact, I'm going to dump into here all the rest of my wall. And they can work on that. We don't really have much in the way of defenses, so I need to get some of this built up real soon, because otherwise the biters will absolutely eat this. And I'm also going to drop some radars. So let's put a radar in this corner. That's not going to cover everything. Let's put one in each corner, except those corners are not well guarded yet. Well, I'll put it here for now. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to grab the train back to the mall, get a little bit more supplies, and come back so that I can show you one more thing that we can do here, and we will have a functional defense system. All right, and here we go. So I have brought a ton more supplies, and rather than building it all myself, we're going to let the robots do the work. Dump all that in there. Dump all that in there. And dump all that in there. Let's add more of that. And let's add more of those. What I should probably have gotten more of is repair packs, but I'll just give them what I have. And then the base robots can now do their thing here. Meanwhile, what we're going to do is build a train. So we have some locomotives here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Train. And train. And now we're going to send this to oil 1 out. Wait for full cargo. Stone outpost, oil in. Wait for empty cargo. Let's make sure we're not standing on the tracks. Go. Now, one thing you may notice is that I didn't put in a wait for an activity signal, and that's because I don't really have any way to refuel them right now. The places where we would normally refuel is our base, and this train's not going to the base. So we're going to need to take care of that in the next episode. I think for the moment it will be okay with the little bit of solid fuel I've put into it. Fortunately, as we know, fluid rolls really quickly. And there it goes. The robots can build most of our system, but what we need to do provide for them is the roboports and power, since we did not put those into the box. And our oil train has come in, and now you will notice that all of these flamethrower turrets are alive. They're no longer blinking that they're out of fuel. In fact, they have some crude oil. We need more radars. No, we don't need these anymore. Let's drop a storage box here, because as they pick up wood, they don't have anywhere to put it. You can see a little pilot flame on the flamethrower turrets. They really do a number on the biters, I'll tell you. We are not getting oil because we did not hook this bit up. Now, the heavy and light oils, I think, actually do more damage than the crude oil does, but it's more of a pain in the neck to get here. With the crude we already have available on a train, light and heavy, we would have to go out and build a station for bringing it in, and I don't want to do that. This is safe to put down because it's unpowered, because the site is completely protected. Now, mind you, the biters will mostly come at the far right and far lower side, because that's where the bases are, but it doesn't hurt to make sure. Alright, let's go back to our base and get substations. Alright, I'm gonna make a run back to the mall, and I'll be right back. Alright, here we are. Brought out some supplies to complete this. And now that we have complete coverage of roboports, and the middle is not covered and that top corner is not covered, but that's okay because they're still within the build zone. They don't need to be in the logistic zone. And we've got most of this done. The corners could use a little bit of cleanup. Something like that. And that completes the defensive portion of our outpost. Now, we still need to actually mine for stone, which is what we set all this up for. And we've got spaces for those stations to bring the stone out. That I will do between episodes because we've seen this before. There's really no reason to do that on camera. And really, we're not too late about it, because if we look closely over here, we're down to 5,000 stone, and our science production has slowed to a crawl. We're getting hardly any rails into the purple science array because they're getting hardly any stone here and hardly any stone brick into the furnaces. So we really need to do that. And among other things, one of the reasons we don't have this complete here is we're out of stone to make stone walls. Alright, you now know everything you need to design and build an outpost to protect an outlying resource gathering section, or anything else that you want to put in an outpost. We'll see other uses for outposts later in the series. Now, obviously, you're going to have to adapt to the shape of your area. This happened to work as a nearly perfect square. Your setup may not. So why don't you go ahead and try one of these yourself? And as always, don't forget to save.